Welcome to First Down Playbook, Flag Football Chalk Talk. This is where we try to take flag football concepts on the offense and defense and break them down a little more simply so that you can teach and execute them better week to week. Now, this morning we want to talk about an old-fashioned concept that's been around football for a long time. It's called the Hank concept. The Hank concept is essentially just a combination of a curl and a flat, and we'll talk more about that here in a second. In this situation here, you've got a 7v7 flag football play, and you've got the Hank concept on both sides. Now, we're going to look at this from a 7v7 flag football perspective, and we also have it drawn up in a 5v5 because we know a lot of you youth coaches will be playing that, but they're really the same concept, and we want to just slow down and really talk about the ins and outs of how to teach this concept. Let's go back to the 7v7. Now, the one thing about a Hank concept is it's really dependent on timing. It's dependent on everyone executing at the proper yardage, everyone, including the quarterback, using the correct drop, because it's a really hard concept to stop if everybody is on the same page and everybody has the correct timing. A little different than some of the plays that you might have in flag football where you've got crossing routes and you're looking for confusion. You're really, with the Hank concept, you're looking for execution. You're looking for your quarterback to take the right number of steps, get the ball out. You're looking for your outside receiver to have the proper split, take the right number of yards or steps, however you want to teach it, put their foot in the ground, come back. But it's really all about timing when you're talking about the Hank concept. So let's look at the 7v7 version of it right here. We've got it out of a center bunch formation, and that's just what we call it here at First Down Playbook. You can call it what you want. Now, as you're playing 7v7 flag football, you may be getting some type of zone defenses now. Now, we've got a two-deep look here to where the two safeties are lined up, and we've got really four across the second layer. We call them corners, and we're calling it a weak backer and a sandbacker. Our Y is the strong side for this center bunch formation, and we've got an R because at some point you are probably going to have someone that rushes the quarterback to make sure that the quarterback just can't stand back there. Now, the one thing we'll do here, just for the sake of this drawing right here at the higher level, we're going to put a field in the background. We know you may or may not have a field that you can use, but right now we're going to put a field just for the yardage that we are going to talk about. Now, let's go across the board and talk about each position first. Your Z. Your Z, first of all, is going to be running a 12-yard curl route. They need to cut their split down at least 2 yards. Now, this is going to be a lot dependent on how talented your quarterback is. If you've got a younger quarterback or a quarterback that doesn't have a strong arm, bring your Z in even more. You need to bring your outside receiver in to the proper split to where you can execute the Hank concept. Now, you want to have your inside foot up, looking in at the ball. When the ball is snapped, it's important that this Z drives to 12 yards. And they want to get the 12 yards, and they want to put their outside foot in the ground. And it's really important that they have eyes down the field as they're doing this, but they want to put their outside foot in the ground, and then they want to drive directly back to the quarterback. Now, as they become more proficient at this, they're going to be able to see a hole versus zone. Now, the way the zones are probably working in 7v7 when it's too deep, your safeties are probably going to back up some. If they're not backing up some, then you need to obviously get go routes in your system and teach your quarterback how to get that ball up quickly in the 10, 15 yard range right here over top of the safeties. But they're probably going to back up enough to where this curl route should come back and not be affected by that deep safety. Now, your inside people, your Y in this case right here, part of your center bunch, is going to immediately release to the flat. And it's important, the immediately part, sense of urgency. The way this concept is working for your quarterback is your quarterback is going to read outside in. That's why that split is so important. Your quarterback needs to understand that if the Y outflanks anybody or everybody on the defense, get the ball to the Y right now, because that is important, all right? Because if you don't do that, then the concept is never going to work. If the defense can pack it all in and defend your inside routes, then your Y is useless. So now understand that your quarterback is going to be reading, once again, inside out. Now, the quarterback's drop. It's a 3-step drop if they're in the gun. Okay, if I'm in the gun, it's going to be right, left, right, assuming you're a right-handed quarterback, and then that ball's out. Now, the quarterback, in a zone-type concept, once again, you can read defenders or you can read routes, however you want to teach it. But probably if they're playing this, they're going to expand that corner right there. And now the next thing that the quarterback's eyes are going to come to is what's going on with this Sam backer defender right here. So if this Sam backer expands up underneath your curl, then now the quarterback, assuming that you've got a rusher right here, now the quarterback's eyes have to come back to number 3 right here. There's nothing wrong with a progression that gets you from 1, 2 to 3 and getting your ball to your H, who's probably a pretty good athlete. Now, if you have a rusher here and the Sam backer stays inside, and that's where your Z needs to have a little bit of a feel with your quarterback. The quarterback, once again, is going to take 1, 2, 3, and deliver the ball in this hole right here to your curl player. So once again, you're reading this flat to curl and with an idea of what's going on with this inside defender right here. Now, you notice that we've got this concept to both sides. Do not teach your quarterback to try to read both of them. What are you going to base it on? You're essentially going to base this concept on the defense that you're playing. You're looking at the defense right here. The defense is very balanced, right? It's balanced just like your offensive formation is. So if you get that, then what you're going to do is you're going to lean on your personnel. Who is the best runner? Who's the best athlete to run this route here, to run the flat route? And then the other thing you're going to go on is, where is the ball on the field? Is it in the middle of the field? It won't be a big issue. If it's on a hash or something like that, some of you play on hashes, some of you don't, then you may want to look to the short side. But understand that what you don't want to do is you do not want to have your quarterback trying to read both sides on this. Pre-snap, let them pick a side and work this inside to outside, Y to Z, and then back down to your H as your check down. So as you go, notice once again, you've got the same concept over here to the left. Now, what if they play another version of zone? Let's say they're going to play a middle of the field closed zone. We'll drop this safety down and just make them a Mike backer, so to speak. So now you've got the middle of the field closed once again, so your safety is going to be deep. It's even better really against a middle of the field closed defense in zone, because right now that corner, guess what? Now they're responsible for that Z if they run deep. And this corner over here, same thing. So now you're going to get a 3 deep look. Now you really put all of the burden on this Sam backer here. So this Sam backer, now if you get the middle field closed zone and this Sam backer does not expand to cover that Y, once again, the ball needs to be out. It needs to be in the hands of the Y. And the Y needs to put their foot in the ground after catching it and get vertical. If the Sam backer expands, now you want to throw off of that Sam backer's ear to your Z coming back in the hole. The only person that can take that away now is the Mike. And so if you look at it to both sides, now your wheel backer has to expand to take away the flat. You don't really have anybody to take away, right, both curls. So what you can do is you can actually teach your quarterback pre-snap. Once again, at a higher level, you might be able to read opposite of this Mike backer and do it unless you're extremely experienced and have an extremely experienced quarterback, wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend staying on one side of the field. But whichever way this Mike backer goes, the other side should be open on the curl, assuming that they've got somebody rushing the quarterback and a deep safety. So once again, just a way to beat middle of the field open and middle of the field closed, all right, when it comes to running the Hank concept. Now, you're going to get a lot of man coverage in flag football. We understand that. So I'm going to go back here and just line it up. You know, you've got a rusher. You've got probably a corner playing this Z right here. You've got a Sam backer or whatever they want to call it covering the Y. You've got this corner covering your X. And you've got the Will backer here covering your F. Somebody's covering the center and the back. And that will be some kind of combination of your safety and Mike backer. And once again, you're going to have somebody rushing the quarterback. When you're running the Hank concept against man coverage, all right, it really gets to be the same thing. It gets to be matchups. Once again, if the leverage this Y has on the Sam, and odds are that Sam backer will be playing to stop an easy inside route first, then the ball needs to get out, and you need to let this Y work on this Sam one-on-one, because if your Z is pushing this corner deep and coming back, then the corner should go with them. They should deepen and then come back to try to cover this curl. If the Sam backer expands or covers this Y, this is where it is really important for your outside receiver to put their outside foot in the ground. In this case, where it's not zoned, you're not coming back in a hole. You want to plant that right foot and drive directly back to the quarterback, because what you're trying to do is you're looking for separation on this corner. Catch the football. The ball should be delivered right between the numbers, right on the in between the two shoulder blades. And now your Z has to put their foot in the ground once again and get north-south or get even horizontal versus man coverage. You understand there is a strong safety or a free safety in the middle of the field here. But there are three different ways that you can teach the Hank concept curl flat in flag football with 7v7. Now, I'm going to go over here once again. If you're coaching 5v5 flag football, you could have the same concept. But once again, if my quarterback is 9 years old, then I am going to cut my split down even more. I might cut my split down to where it's, 5, 7, 9 yards from the center. Because when you run this concept, it's important that your quarterback can get the ball to your flat route. If they can't get the ball to the flat route, then this is not going to be a great concept. But if you bring your concept back down, once again, bring your Z back in, it's the same thing. And you begin teaching your players all of the concepts that could show up later as he or she begins to play more developmental ball at the high school level. So you've got, once again, you've got your F in the flat, and you've got your Z on a curl. And you can put the field in the background if you want. Now, I've got everybody drawn up in a man coverage situation because that's probably what you're going to get in youth football. But it's the same deal. Tell your quarterback to read, right, flat the curl. Now, you'll notice that right here, we only have it on one side. We don't even want to tempt a young quarterback to be looking everywhere. We want to get the young quarterback to understand, here's where we're working, right over here. And now your X becomes the third part of it. Important to teach your X that what I'm doing is I'm running like a drag stop, but you need to stop over here so you don't get in the way of this curl. But if your curl gets covered, if the corner covers the flat and your backer if your backer covers the flat and your curl gets covered by the corner, then it's important to have somewhere to go with the football as a third read. And then obviously if they're all covered, you can just throw the ball away somewhere down here to the right sideline if your league doesn't allow you to run, and a lot of 5v5 leagues do not. So once again, just a Hank concept. Now, some of you younger or coaches teaching younger 5v5 players may be taking the snap underneath. All right, if you're doing that, then what you want to do is now you want this to become a 5-step drop. Why a 5-step drop? Because, once again, even though the splits are cut down, it's still about timing. So your young quarterback, what they want to do is they want to take the snap and, assuming it's a right-handed quarterback, drop right, left, plant your right foot, and the ball needs to be out. The ball needs to get over here to your F, to your Z, or to your X, or throw the ball away. Or if your leg allows you to scramble, then you can get in a scramble drill. But same deal. 3-step drop from the gun, 5-step drop from under center. So as you're teaching the Hank concept, once again, there's no reason for it to be taught any different than the way you would teach it if you were coaching an NFL team, a college team, a high school team with 11v11 football or 7v7. It's a great concept, and we'll come back later and talk about more crossing concepts, but a Hank concept is something that really should be in every flag football playbook on the offensive side, regardless of the level and the age of player that you're teaching.